a FedEx truck to help deliver holiday packages, and they told me I was overqualified. I just want to drive a truck.
Yeah. When does it stop? So you're overqualified, you're 50. So what do you do with these people that want to pay their bills? They don't want to foreclose on their house. Because they're 49 and overqualified, we still have to eat, we still have children. So what do you do with us?
We're in Levittown, New York. Used to be an old war community. The boys used to come home from war, and these houses were made cheap for them.
When my dad came home from World War II, he paid about $7,000 for the house.
Back then, it was a lot cheaper to live here.
I was born and raised in Levittown. My father was a veteran in World War II who bought one of the original homes in Levittown.
1947. There was no place else to go. I was living in a furnished room. I saw a house and I went to a bank to get a mortgage on it, and they told me I wasn't making enough money. But Levitt was renting for the first year, and then you could either rent or buy.
Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money.
When you moved into a Levitt house, you got everything you needed. You got a refrigerator, you got the stove, you got a washing machine. And this was the 530th house that he built.
My father always did what it took to make ends meet. I never wanted for anything. I had a great home. I had a nice warm place to sleep. We had television. We had a car. It was a fantastic place to grow up in Levittown.
I've been here in the same house for 63 years. Over the years, people added on. They made changes to the house. What started out as an $8,000 house is now a $318,000 house. And that's down from the $400,000 it was worth a couple of years ago.
The economy changed, and I know when people are struggling. I recognize the unemployment checks, and I recognize the certified letters from the banks.
I live paycheck to paycheck. I don't even know if I can make my next mortgage payment. I worked here for many, many years and always made money to provide for my family, and now it just can't do it no more. There's no jobs.
This is the 7th-month anniversary of my getting fired. You know who's really evil are human resources, though. They're like double agents. There's this woman, Ashley, in HR. And I'm dancing with her at a Christmas party, and she knows I'm getting fired. It's like, and I'm going, and she's like, you're such a good dancer. I'm like, I know. Meanwhile, she's going, you're so fucked.
A big day of gains for the markets yesterday.
You're out of the recession. You're starting to see.
The economy is looking much stronger than some of the economies. The place right now is creating lazy Americans.
The moocher class out there. And we know that when people start to look, they start getting jobs. Go out and get a job. Work at McDonald's. Work 2 jobs.
Ever since the crash, we're in a period of what I call prolonged economic uncertainty. The game has changed. Instead of getting 20 or 30 years at a company, hopefully you can get 2 or 3.
It's been weird times. Weird going to college and having expectations and assuming things will go one way, and then next thing you know, you're looking for a job at like Whole Foods.
The middle class is not in the middle anymore. I think it's more of a lower class now. I mean, when I first started, if you had a job making $30,000, I'm now, 20-some-odd years later, applying for jobs that are paying $30,000 now. When I read the paper and I read articles about the recession being over and things are getting better and there's job growth and whatnot, I just don't believe it. It's laughable. I've always been self-sustaining, self-sufficient financially, and now we're just in a situation where we've been looking for, a real job for a couple of years now already. Kind of at our wits' ends, and we had the 3 children to take care of. I've always made a good income. $100,000 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But a third of it goes towards your taxes, federal, state, city, whatnot. So you're left with $65,000. Food has got to cost you, I know with us, right? What is it, $800 a month probably, to feed everybody, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that's another $10,000. You got your mortgage and everything else, you know what I mean? So you're chipping away, I can't fathom that people can survive in this environment.
just calling to find out if any new decisions have been made or how we're going to go forward. If you could give me a call, please, I'd appreciate it. It's 4 o'clock on Tuesday. Thanks much. Bye. Dang. I never imagined that I would be in a position, being out of work for a year, and think that, we could lose the house. We moved here for a reason. Long Island's been very good to us and the kids, and we have friends out here. I love it out here.
This magic moment.
Grew up in Brooklyn, born and raised in Brooklyn. I went to Brooklyn College. I met Susan at Brooklyn College. We lived there for 5 years before moving out to Long Island.
And then it happened.
Long Island is a great place to raise a family. The highways are right near us to, ride to the beach. It was Jones Beach, Tobay Beach. We joined the pool. And the more time we spend out here, the more we like it. That's why the prospect of losing this house is very upsetting. And I'll do what I have to do. My last job was at a company called LRN, which was a leader in the field of compliance and ethics training. You never really think it's going to happen to you. They would call people into the office and, they would come out in tears. Everybody thinks their job is important. So I felt that, like a lot of other people, my job is safe. I was able to work from home. I didn't spend much time in the office. So when you're asked to come into the city and you're watching your colleagues getting laid off left and right, I guess the writing was on the wall. I was laid off and, okay, tell me what my benefits are and everything else. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm not going to let them know that they really upset me. But on the trip home, it hit me. I'm unemployed. I know how you feel when people tell you that. People that aren't unemployed and people that aren't going through this. Yeah, I know how you feel. No, you don't know how I feel. You're not out of work for a year. You're not trying to support it. You're working. You have a job. You don't know how I feel. You think like you're the only one. I was talking to one of my neighbors, and they're pretty much in the same boat. And you know what? You live next door to someone for so long, and you don't even know it, and then all of a sudden, it's you start talking about it. Hey, you too?
Yeah.
And yeah.
For a couple months, haven't paid the mortgage.
Right.
Struggling to decide to pay it or to not, because if you don't pay it for a couple of months, then you go into the foreclosure, and
then you have to pay more money
then you
to
have to
get
pay
out.
more, and
You are at the end of the modification process. The second time. For the
you say
second
we're at the end of it.
We're at the end of it.
So we think.
So we think.
2 years ago, I lost my job. So we put our house on the market. It's our only asset. It's all we've got. But our property taxes are very high, and we have no money to retire on. Right. So we just have to work forever. But we can't get jobs. So it's kind of a vicious circle. Very difficult to figure out. But we all did what we were supposed to do.
Right.
And this has been the result for us. I remember the day I lost my job as if it were yesterday. It was June 2008. The HR manager came into my office. I followed him into a conference room. The two of them sat down, and I said, let's just get this over with. Being unemployed for 2 years is not just a financial loss. It's an emotional loss. It's a loss of friendships. People disappear. You can't socialize. It changes every facet of your life. I'm panic-stricken. I'm feeling as if I have absolutely nothing. I don't want to be helped. I want to just help myself. But what we want are jobs. What we need are jobs. In my next job, and I will have a next job, I will thank God every morning and every night for that job.
The phrase that job seekers are seeing more and more often now. The unemployed need not apply. Only employed people need apply. If you can believe this, is that legal? These folks have created giant holes for themselves financially and emotionally.
It affects their mental health. It affects their views of themselves and their self-worth.
So could you possibly end up with a whole class of permanently unemployed people?
I've been on, in the 2 years, I've got to say I've been on 20, 30 interviews. I must apply thousands of jobs. I mean, you know, nothing, different fields. Home Depot, you know, back to Wall Street. I started on Wall Street. I'm a Wall Street guy. Not one of the high-end, top percenters. I was a regular guy that got hired off the street. I started out as a messenger. I was a sophomore in high school. Back then, you got hired off the street. Get your job. They needed people. There were girls everywhere, and I said to myself, I'm not gonna fall for the first one. And I met Regina right away, and it was like, she's too damn good. She's the one that I'd end up marrying.
I remember being so happy without a care in the world.
Worked my way up to vice president in 2000. You know, I was making a decent salary. I finally, you know, I made it to the 100 grand club, man. I was there. I was on the move. But in 2008, that's when it all hit the fan.
The worst financial crisis in decades today.
This is just absolutely stunning that Lehman Brothers and Merrill Lynch would actually fall on the same day.
I went to work that morning. I spoke to the guy above me. I said, you know, what's going on with the layoffs, you know? And he looked at me and he was just real pale. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. It's me. It was just doom. It was just doom and gloom. You know, and I couldn't do a thing about it. Said goodbye to everybody, you know, it was pretty emotional. You know, I knew everybody. I'd get on the elevator, I knew everybody. Regina's first words were like, wow, you get home early? I said, yeah, I'm home for today and tomorrow.
Within like 5 minutes, I was like, it can't be. You know, it just can't be. Like, how could this happen? Not ever knowing what I was gonna be in for. Not ever in a million years.
The idea that we had spent so much money on schooling and we were so highly educated, and we certainly did not expect to have financial difficulties. That is true. Dave, doctor, me, teacher, you know, all this education, please. Of course, we're gonna be fine. Where are you, baby girl? We both had jobs. We got a mortgage in this tiny little house that we had purchased. We could pay for the mortgage. I lost my job. I had 3 years of great teaching. You can write about anything. There's no limitations here. Anything you want. Use the words, make up a silly sentence. I got called into the office and I sat down and, you know, we were like this. She said, I'm sure you'll do a good job somewhere else. I, you know, looked her right in the eye. I said, thank you very much. And I walked out of the office and I was just in utter disbelief. In utter disbelief. We knew then that we were in trouble.
I'm a chiropractor. I have noticed a big decrease in business over the last 2 years. Probably about 25%. Our financial situation is pretty dire at the moment. We've recently filed for bankruptcy.
Not a day passes where we don't in some way discuss our finances.
Yeah. Think about it, talk about it. It's constant.
It's constant. We've been together 16 years, And I would say for about 13 years, we were kind of like that couple where everything was just kind of sort of picture perfect.
We both grew up on Long Island. We lived a fairy tale life from the very beginning.
I mean, literally, right down to the white picket fence.
We went to college at SUNY Geneseo, and we met up there.
Met right away.
Yeah, my freshman year. And we've been together since.
Long time, 16 years. First people married out of college.
Yeah.
You know, immediately went to our graduate degrees. We were all, you know.
Wanted to live out here, came out here immediately.
Hi. We made it through about 13 years.
Yeah, it just worked.
And then, you know, our struggle came later.
There are a whole lot of people in this country that are unemployed, and if ever there was a need to extend unemployment insurance, it is now.
The Senate is expected to vote to extend unemployment benefits, but that is little comfort to the long-term unemployed who have passed the maximum time to receive benefits.
Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Unemployment doesn't seem to have a face on it. It's hard to organize people who don't have the means of physically getting together in a place. People are literally killing themselves because they can't feed themselves and their family.
If you've been out of work for 2 years or more, if you're a 99er, there's no hope in sight right now.
Because we're looking at the last month of our unemployment benefits, we're terrified. And if it stops at 99 weeks, we just have no other resources.
Who can live off even the maximum?
For $430 a week?
When I told my daughter, I said that I lost my job, she went into an hysterical crying. What are we going to do? Where are we going to live? What's going to happen? I worked as a systems manager. Most of the jobs went to India. I was involved with a lot of the training, and it's scary working and training someone and knowing that you're actually training someone to take your job.
I've been told it's one of two things. One is it's age discrimination, which officially doesn't exist, but all of us know it's out there in force, and that really annoys me. Or they tell me I'm overqualified. I don't know why I went to college at this point. I don't know why I spent nights getting a graduate degree. I should have become a plumber.
I'm doing all I can to even network, and it's still not working in my favor. And you would think that your family and friends would be proactive in helping you get there, but it's like you're on your own. And that's very disheartening for me, because I have to go to bed every night thinking about that.
People say be tough, be strong, but how do we get up every day and face the abyss?
It sounds weird, but there's good in every bad. And there's good that comes out of cancer if you survive.
Mel had lung cancer in 1999. In 2000, that lung cancer metastasized to his brain. He experienced horrific surgeries, radiation, chemotherapy. There's such support when there's physical illness, but when you've got this scary, no money going down the tube situation, people, I think, are more afraid this could happen to me. Having cancer was easier than being unemployed. I grew up in a completely artificial world, but I had no idea. It was the 60s. I graduated from high school in 1970. When I was a teenager, we had a cabana at Point Lookout, and during the summer, we would go there all the time and have barbecues. It was carefree. There were no worries.
On a blanket with my baby, where
I went to college, probably because I wasn't engaged, frankly, but I'm very glad I did go to college. I was a bit of a rebel, the little hippie type marching in anti-Vietnam rallies. I like a good rally, I really do.
We met on the Long Island Railroad. You become a creature of habit, and when you're on the railroad, you tend to go to the same car, the same section,
And I used to sit with 4 other people in this 5-seater, and one guy and I would always trade jokes. So one day, we're sitting there telling jokes, and there's this very pretty girl across the aisle, obviously trying not to laugh. Probably a year or 2 after that, we got married. And that's how it all started. We were a product of the Long Island Railroad.
For a couple of days, I had severe headaches that wouldn't go away. I had muscle aches, my neck was stiff, and I decided to go see my doctor. But the checkup showed nothing, and quite honestly, he attributed all the symptoms to stress and anxiety, possible depression. Maybe it was finally catching up to me. I mean, it's been 14 months. They recently gave blood. I give platelets every other week. And they test the blood before they give it to anybody. And tested positive for West Nile virus. At least I knew I had something and I wasn't crazy. I'll keep plugging away, keep looking for the jobs and making the phone calls, doing what I'm doing.
Right now, I'm pretty nervous. I've got my rose reviews and my St. Anthony medal. St. Anthony finds things, like jobs. Hello, this is Anne.
Hi, Anne. I'd love to hear more about you. What you're doing now, what you've been doing, what you want to do.
I was involved with media relations, PR, and I left there because they had a management change. New director of marketing came in and brought his own team in. So since that time, the last few years, I've been working 20 hours a week.
How do you feel about diving into situations? 60 hours a week job, Black Friday on the weekend, that kind of thing. Are you prepared to dive into that kind of environment? I'll be quite frank and say that's really what it is here.
Yes, I wouldn't expect it to be any less.
Well, I had an interview, had a follow-up. Wasn't offered. I thought I was offered the job. I kind of assumed I would get it. Coming home and saying, and I didn't get the job. Once again. That's tough. That's the blow.
The problem with unemployment benefits is they encourage people not to take jobs from employers. And you're giving them, by definition, unproductive people. The longer you pay people not to work, the longer they're not going to try to work.
I'm not sitting home and doing nothing. A day does not go by that I am not looking for work. I had a series of 6 or 7 different interviews with the same company, different people, and we're going to make a decision within the next week, and you'll hear from us next week, and, a week goes by, and 2 weeks go by. Then all of a sudden, the company disappears from the face of the earth. The first plane had already hit, and I was the fire warden for the building. So I took the firemen with me and we went into the building, checked floor by floor. We got back down and I turned to go out, and it was at that time that just the force of the building coming down basically pushed me out of the doors. I ended up under an ambulance, and the rubble just piled around the ambulance. Right before I lost consciousness, I remember thinking that my son's bar mitzvah was coming up. I had to make it to his bar mitzvah. I wasn't going to let him do this on his own. When I finally did come home, I remember pulling up in the driveway. My son heard the alarm on the car, when I locked it. And he just stood there at the front door looking, well, it's about time you got home. I've gotten a couple of notices in the mail telling me I'm a year behind. You know, right now 620 some odd days, whatever. But I'm hoping to hold on to it for the kids. My boys love the house. You know, I'd be more than happy to move down the basement and give them upstairs. Be a part of their life. If I had the funds, I would have sent them to a private school, somewhere where they had a good basketball program, or a good athletic program. He could play any sport, but basketball, he'd be a stud. When the kids were small, it was great. You have a catch, you could throw the football, you know. If I was here when they were younger, I would have had a batting cage over here. I would have put the net over. A little younger, I would have had, and things worked out right, this place would have been unbelievable. But it would hurt. It would just hurt, because it's mine. It's just like, you know, I don't know, my piece of land. When they give me that foreclosure notice, I got, I guess, from what I understand, 18 months or so. When I see something certified or whatever, then I know. Then I know. It could be any day.
Warrior, complete a warrant to remove. House is still closed on. We have a moving truck, about 10 guys that can move everything to the curb.
We are definitely seeing an increase in the evictions, and we're busier now than we have ever been in the 23 years plus I've been here. That tells you something about the economy. When we're that busy, it's never good.
The people in the middle class didn't have to worry about having their goods put out on the street. They always kind of felt they had a certain level of protection, you know, to fall back on.
How do you recover from this?
You've reached Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. If you will, leave a message with your name, loan number, and phone number. Thanks. Have a great day, and thank you for choosing Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
Hi, Laura. This is David Hartstein. I'm calling to check on the status of my loan modifications. So if you could please give me a call back, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. In the fall, we went for the modification.
On our
and
own?
we just had way too much debt.
They said no.
No. Actually, I said no the day he was born.
Oh, that was fun. Did you say hi to Logan? Shay Shay in the room? Yes. He's touching you, Lamb. He's licking me. He loves you. He's trying to give you kisses. We got home on a Friday night, and on Monday afternoon, I got the call.
We got a call in the morning that he tested positive for Downs.
And then we needed to come in.
And we need to come in.
It was the most stressful time, as you can imagine, of our lives, which has created all this magic and beauty, for which we are very grateful, but...
That's when we decided to file for bankruptcy.
And that was when we decided. We were like, we're done with all this.
So you did the Chapter 7, all your unsecured debt is eliminated.
Right.
And you're delinquent on this mortgage?
Yes.
How far back?
4 months?
3-4 months. You just weren't able to make payments.
We can't make the payments.
But we're also in the middle of a modification. It probably has helped you that you're now delinquent, because if one is current, it's unlikely that they're going to modify.
Right.
Okay. But it does not help you that there's equity in the property. Of course, the bank is fully protected, and if they were to foreclose, they would be made whole. And when it's time to go, you go.
We're behind now 4 or 5 months on the house. And truthfully, you know, it's embarrassing. There have been times when I questioned whether it's me. What am I doing wrong? It's the same things over and over again. You get close, you think you find a good opportunity, and then it disappears. The more trouble, the more I turn to the religion and turn to God for, you know, for comfort. I mean, I'm here. It's time to talk to God and find out, you know, here I am. Can you help me?
Things between Heather and I became really difficult. The financial hardship that we were experiencing.
It was killing him. He would get
I would pop.
major rage.
I didn't know how to
Handle emotion.
deal and handle and feel emotions.
That created a huge detachment from each other. A complete removal of affection on my part.
Right.
Like a deadness. We discussed him leaving. I was pretty serious, and I think you didn't really believe me. And then you're threatening me, this is my house, and then, the lawnmower gets thrown. And then there's like gasoline all over the floor, and the kids are there, and everything is a mess and a wreck. And I just said, you are hurting me. I'm in pain. It seems on the outside, with everybody looking in, like, because we've got the cute house and the cute kids, and we do have a great relationship. It seems like everything's so easy. But, we work really hard at not letting all the stress that has been our life for years to drown us,
Yeah.
My husband has moved up to Albany and is living with my son and his family, and he's working probably at least 12 hours a day as a mortgage broker. It's something I never imagined we would need to do in my wildest dreams.
I'm 65, and I'm not going to be running around for another 30 or 40 years. This is not right. If there was one thing I could do tonight, one would be to sit at home with my dogs on my lap and Ann pounding away on her computer. That's all I need. That's my American dream. What politician is going to work for me on that one? I don't have much more time. I don't want to die on Route 78 going to Saratoga Springs.
I have a bulging disc in my neck, my hands are numb, and anxiety. Depression, anxiety, I guess. I'm on that medication for that too. I can't go without insurance, especially now. It's just not right. Like, I've been working since I'm 15, straight through all the years. I never used those benefits. I worked hard for those benefits. Now I'm 50 years old and I can't get them. I'm broke. Freaking poor. I'm bankrupt. I'm done. I'm in the lower half. I don't make any money.
Food should not be an issue. It's like going into a supermarket and fearing that I don't have enough money. How am I going to feed my kids next week? How am I going to feed my kids this week? How am I supposed to do this? So I've been selling jewelry to get some extra food money and pay some bills with it. But I did ask them about my engagement ring. They told me that approximately maybe $2,000. They would really have to look it up to see what I would get. But my husband was kind of completely shattered when he said, I hope it doesn't come to that, because I worked very hard to get you that ring and it was such sentimental value. I'll take the milk and I'll take like something like this. Yeah, I don't keep it a secret anymore because it just is what it is. And if it's a matter of getting a couple of cans of corn or whatever to supplement, so what? It just gives me more money to be able to pay my electric bill. This is for Thanksgiving. And here's your turkey. We'll get from people like remarks like, what'd you do with all your money? What'd you do with all your money? That you should have to use a pantry.
It's tough. It's a tough walking in there. Because that's kind of a big reminder of where you're at. That is the reminder of where you're at.
Yesterday I came home from a support group where people said to me, oh, you're always smiling, you're always happy, you know, that's why we love coming here, we love spending time with you. And, you know, I got home and I actually said to Susan, you know what, I don't think I've ever felt this depressed. There are days that I just feel like, you know, it's not even worth getting up in the morning. And I actually took out the life insurance policies to see how the family would be taken care of if I were no longer here. My daughter had written me a note when she knew I was in one of my deep funks. And she said, Dad, you know, you're the best at what you do. You're good people. We don't know why bad things happen to good people. She says, but just remember, what doesn't kill you will always make you stronger. And when I get when I get into my moods, I take that piece of paper out and I read it, and turns everything around for me.
With the holidays coming up, it's just.
I hope the kids aren't expecting lots of gifts. You know, when they were younger, Hanukkah would come, they'd get a gift every night. You know,
Right.
we're gonna take it, we're gonna rewrap it, and give it to them again.
Yeah.
See the roof on the house? That's your gift.
That's my gift. Yeah.
Everybody goes through hard times, you know. But why so long?
Yeah.
Like 2 years. There's got to be some damage.
You've disappeared. You've fallen into a hole. There's nothing left.
Quit spending money we don't have.
The question still remains, where are the jobs?
Government does not create jobs. Say whatever actually works. Investment in education. Many schools have been forced to lay off teachers. They're the first to go. These are real human beings who are out here struggling. We need to pay attention to these people. We have at times had to choose between baby food and diapers and heating fuel. We only eat 2 meals a day to conserve. I have no oil for hot water. We boil our water on the stove and pour it into the tub. I'm making $10 an hour. I don't go to church many Sundays because the gasoline is too expensive to drive there.
The house was put into foreclosure.
We didn't tell anybody yet. It's like you look around, we don't seem like people who just went bankrupt, who are in foreclosure.
I don't want people to pity us, you know, feelings of failure.
I definitely feel anxious. A lot. I take the holy water and I bless the house with it. They say that it cleanses the evil away. I pray for strength. I just ask God to please don't leave us. You know, please don't abandon us.
Basically, this is the first step in the foreclosure process. You know, I guess it's gonna take a little time. I guess I got a year, 18 months. If I'm lucky, more. If not, we'll find a place to live. So, time to go. Find a place to stay. Maybe I'll go back to Queens. They'll go for it. We're not in that cardboard box yet. Not just yet. I don't think it'll never be the same. The American dream is gone.